Okay, the big idea for today is we're going to use ratios and describe them in a different way. A unit rate for a ratio can tell you how much you have of the first thing for 1 unit of the second part. So when we were looking at Sue's and Ben's drink recipes yesterday, Sue has 5 cups to 4 cups. Ben has 6 cups to 5 cups. So for Sue's recipe, if we want to reduce the orange to 1 and thus find the unit rate, we divide by 4, which means we also have to divide by 4 over here, which results in 5 being divided by 4, right here. 5/4 is the same thing as if you had divided 5 by 4. So she has 5/4 of a cup of cherry juice for every 1 cup of orange juice. The unit rate for 5/4 is, for the ratio 5 to 4, is 5/4 to 1, which they don't say because it's sort of implied when you say unit rate. Over here, Ben, is the same deal. You have 5. You have 5. You divide by 5 to get the 1. Divide by 5, and you get 6/5. So 6/5 is the quotient of 6 over 5. Ben has 6/5 of a cup of cherry juice for every 1 cup of orange juice. So the unit ratio is 6/5. Now we can do the same thing, only instead of having the ratio of being cherry to orange, we're going to do the ratio of orange to cherry, which is just slightly different. So over here we've got cherry. Instead of being 5 cherry to 4 orange, we have 4 orange to 5 cherry. So this we divide by 5. This we divide by 5. This ends up being 5/4. Sue has 5/4 cup of orange juice for every cup of cherry juice. So 5. That's an abysmal 5. Doesn't even look like one. Looks like it's run over snake. 5/4 is the unit rate. Ben has 5/6 of orange to cherry. Right, we divide by 6. We get 1. We divide by 5. We get 5. That's another one. We get 5/6. Ben has 5/6 cups of orange juice for every cup of cherry juice. So his unit ratio is 5 to 6. We can use this to describe ratios. Pedro used a ratio of 7 quarts of blue paint to 4 quarts of white paint, a ratio of 7 to 4. So we can then describe that like this. 7/4 of a quart of blue paint for every 1 quart of white paint. So it literally is 7/4 to 1. We just don't say the 1 because it's kind of implied when we say every. So the unit rate is 7 to 4. Just like it was on the last page. Grandpa's soup uses 3 cups of tomatoes to 8 cups of broth, a ratio of 3 to 8. So for every 3/8 of a cup, he has 3/8 of a cup of tomatoes for every 1 cup of broth. So the unit rate is 3/8 to 1. So the unit rate for any ratio is A over B, right? The first part of the ratio over the second part of the ratio, if B is not equal to 0, which is not common in unit rates, which is not common in ratios anyway. But if we divide by 0, as I told you, then 2 is equal to 1, and it doesn't work. So that's why you have to say that. We can also compare these a little bit less elaborately than we did yesterday with the graphs. We can say whose drink is more cherry flavored, Sue's or Ben's. We can say Sue, because we already know what the unit rate is. Sue's unit rate is 5 to 4, and Ben's is 6 to 5. 5/4 is greater than 6/5. We don't even have to do common denominators or anything, because, as Cooper told us, 5 is more than 4. So this would be 1 1/4, and this would be 1 1/5. Whose drink is more orange flavors, Sue's or Ben's? How can we use unit rates to decide? Once again, her unit rate is 4 to 5, and Ben's is 5 to 6. 5/6 is greater than 4/5, and this one's even easier because 5 is greater than 4, and it is a higher ratio and it is close. 6/5, same one again. So it's 1 1/6, and this is not even a whole unit. It's 4/5. So this is more than 1. This is less than 1. Okay. Just to be fast, Maria's favorite juice recipe uses 4 cups of mango and 3 cups of strawberry. How many cups of strawberry juice should mix with 5 cups of mango juice to make her favorite juice? So the ratio is 3 to 4. So when we make it into a unit rate, that's 3/4. So if it's 3/4 and this is 5, then we take 5 and we multiply that, just like we multiplied over here, doing the same thing to both sides, and it becomes 15/4. 5 times 3, because remember, when you multiply by this notation, you take 5 over 1. So 1 times 4 is 4, 5 times 3 is 15, and the answer is 15/4, or 3. Yeah, 3 1/4. Okay, since the unknown number of drawings is... Okay, so Adelina makes 2 drawings in her sketchbook, while Jaden makes 5, so that's 2 to 5 right here. How many drawings will Adelina have made when Jaden has made 7? So we use Adelina to change, since the unknown number is Adelina's drawings. So we take 2, divide it by 5 on this side, divide it by 5 on this side, and it becomes 2/5. Then, because we have to multiply it by 7, because Jaden made 7, we multiply that and we get 14/5, which is, she will have finished 2 4/5 of a drawing. Diana can do 3 sit-ups in the time that Walter can do 2. How many sit-ups will Walter have done when Diana has done 3? Has done 12 sit-ups. So we'll use Walter. He's done 2 every time she does 3. So we make this into a 3, into a 1 by dividing by 3. Meaning we divide by 3 here. That's 2/3. Okay, so she multiply this by 12. Multiply this by 12. You get 24/3. And she's done 24/3, which we can then reduce to 8. Okay, last but not least, we can use this same tactic to use factor puzzles to solve problems. I use a ratio table. First I divide and then I multiply. So we figure out that Joanna can plant 7 tomato vines in the John can plant 7 tomato vines in the time it takes Joanna to plant 4. At this rate, right, which is a unit rate of 7 to a unit rate of 4, right, we can compare them. This is 7, this is 4, divide by 4, compare it. This is for every 1 that Joanna has, John will have planted 7/4, or 1 3/4. Then, when John has planted 11, it would be 77/4. Now, you can also arrange it as a factor puzzle. Once you know that it's 7/4, you can put 7/4 in 1 right here. Right? You can put 4 and 11 down here, just like you do with a normal factor puzzle. And the answer would be 77/4, just like we got over here. And this is the same thing. I can go through 1. I don't even have to write the unit rate. Divide by 4 is 1. 1 times 11 is 1. 1 times 11 is 11. So what he's saying is he doesn't even have to bother with filling this section in, because he knows it's going to be 7/4. So then he just takes 7/4 and multiply it by 11. So these are 3 different ways through the forest, right? Ways through our math forest. We can do a rate table, we can do a unit rate, we can do an abbreviated unit table.